Your kids are watching and they're absorbing your standard. Are they going to see a father throughout their life who constantly uses them as an excuse to underachieve? Because I'm a father, I can't go to the gym. Because I'm a father, I can't invest in myself. I can't start that business. Or are they going to see a father who chooses them and tells them to their face, because I love you so much, because you mean so much to me, I will sacrifice, I will invest in myself, I will take risks, I will suffer, get uncomfortable, and push myself to become all I can be because I'm your father and you deserve it. I made a post on my Instagram account of my transformation. I showed myself fat and sloppy, then I showed myself ripped, losing 60 pounds, and this father made a comment. He said, "Must be nice whenever you have time to go to the gym. I'm a father, I have a full-time job, and I have a 10 and an 8-year-old. Not understanding that I was at the gym at 4:30 a.m., also a father, the whole point of Rising Father, and I also work at least 10 to 12 hours every single day." This is the lie that we are going to talk about on this podcast episode. We're going to dismantle this lie of because I'm a father, I can't get in shape. Because I'm so busy, I can't build a business. Because I'm a father, I'm stuck in a job I don't want. Because I'm a father, my finances are bad. Because I'm a father, my marriage is crumbling. Many men use their most sacred role and mission as the reason why they can't deliver on that mission. They say, because I am a father, I can't do the things that would make me a better father. It's just a crutch. It's an excuse for weakness. It is a noble-sounding lie that allows you to sit in complacency and be lazy. Because it sounds really good. You say, I'm being a good father. And because of that, I can't do all these things. And some people give you a pass, but I'm not going to give you a pass. Other fathers who are crushing it and 100 times busier than you will not give you a pass. Being a father is not the reason to put on the brakes and turn into a fat slob and be lazy. Being a father is the reason to become your best. Stop using your children and family as an excuse for you to serve them less. Stop using your children as an excuse for you to be fat and lazy, drink, and allow yourself to crumble into complacency. They're the reasons you should be ripped and disciplined and be extremely motivated and go after your dreams. They're the reason you must rise right now. They are not the reason for you to become a shell of the man you could be giving them. You could be giving your family so much. Stop using them as the reason to give them the scraps. The biggest hypocrisy is these fathers are using the mission as an excuse to abandon their mission. They take that sacred mission, the very reason that the father must be strong, and they twist it into an excuse to be weak. You're a father. This is the most important time of your life. You could be raising a son who needs to learn how to be strong. He needs to learn how to be confident and healthy and physically strong and inspirational and passionate, confident, go after his dreams. He needs to learn how to be a leader. He must learn how to lead himself. And you're going to use being a father as a reason not to become the thing that he needs? That's unacceptable. You have a daughter. Whenever she thinks of, this is what my future husband will be like, the first image that's going to pop into her head is, what was dad like to mom? What are husbands like? That is what you are to your daughter. She's like, okay, dad and mom on vacation, they always work out together. They're loving together. They go on dates once a week. They still flirt with each other. They still hug and kiss. They're still in love. Or dad and mom are isolated, roommates, barely talk to each other, always fighting, always arguing, and put their burdens on us. That is also what your daughter might look for in a future husband, if that's what you are to your wife right now. This is your greatest responsibility, being a leader of your family right now. Do not use that responsibility as the reason why you can't deliver on that responsibility. This is like a soldier saying, I can't clean my gun and I don't have time to put ammunition in it because war is so chaotic right now. Or a captain of a ship saying, I don't have time to navigate. The storm is too chaotic. The storm is too scary and crazy. I can't navigate the ship. It does not make sense, but many of us use that as an excuse, and too many fathers tell you it's okay. It is not okay. You are not too busy. You're not more busy than me or any other guy out there. I've got guys running multiple businesses. I've got surgeons in Men of Fire. I have myself, whenever I was a full-time teacher, I was building 2 businesses and a full-time teacher, waking up at 3:45, going to the gym, working my job, building my business, coming home, being with the family, then working till night, getting 5-6 hours of sleep for months so I could transform myself and transform my family's financial future and everything about what we do. It can be done. It just is a priority or it isn't a priority. But whenever it's not a priority to people, that's when the noble sounding excuses come out. That's whenever they say, oh, I can't, I'm a father, I've got little kids at home, I've got babies and toddlers. Because of that, I don't have time. I had a guy in my group just this past week. He's learning how to become more resilient and upping his willpower by a factor of 1,000. Like, his body's changing, obviously. He quit alcohol and all these things. But the internal strength that allows those things to happen is willpower, self-control, and resiliency. That's the real strength that we're trying to build here in Men of Fire. And he said, I never would have done this before, Chris, but I feel different now. He said, before I would have given myself an excuse. He's got toddlers. He has some type of eye infection where he has to give himself eye drops every 2 hours, and he's sick right now. You know, he's getting no sleep. He has to wake up every 2 hours. But he said, I made myself a promise to go to the gym, so I went to the gym at 2 a.m. instead of my normal time. He said, I'm not going to break that promise no matter what. I'm now a man who can control myself. I'm now a man who keeps his promises. That guy has every excuse in the book not to do it, but he just said, no, that's not an excuse. I mean, there's guys who say, they don't even go further than having kids. It's not like I'm dying of a disease, and that's why I can't go to the gym and work out and build my business. They just say, purely by the fact that I have kids, I can't exercise and go to the gym. I don't have time to do push-ups and pull-ups in my garage because I have kids. And they just leave it at that. And they just expect that to be socially acceptable. And that's the problem. The problem is too many people accept it socially as an excuse. It's the whole self-acceptance movement. It's chubby, fat, dad bod guys who are lazy telling each other it's okay that we're like this, right? Looking at each other, saying, yeah, okay, yeah, it's okay. Sure, it's okay. It's not okay. Get away from those guys. They are keeping you miserable, fat, and chubby. It's not okay. You do the thing anyway. The whole reason men turn complacent, miserable, frustrated, snap, unpresent, lose their fire is because they break promises to themselves and they give themselves excuses. And every single one of these excuses is a cage that you put around your potential, and it's you digging your grave. It's you extinguishing your inner fire that you had at one point. You're a father, so you are a leader. But whenever you say, because I'm a father, I can't improve myself and make myself a better leader, you are claiming the role of a leader while simultaneously using that role as a justification for abdicating your leadership responsibilities. You're holding up your children as a shield to hide your own lack of discipline, when they're supposed to be the reason that you have discipline in the first place. That's the difference. That's the rising father philosophy. It is not to give you excuses and reasons to do less. It is saying, no, you're a father, so they are the reason for you to wake up and work harder. It's not, well, because I'm a father, I do less. Life's crazy, so I do less. It's life's crazy, so I must do more to thrive, so I can thrive in the chaos. Not so I'm just surviving all the time. I don't want to let the chaos of fatherhood crush me. I want to become a person who can thrive and master the chaos of fatherhood so I can be an unbreakable leader to my family. That's the rising father way. So today we are going to kill this lie. We're going to dig it out of your mindset, and we're going to change your philosophy. And then I'm going to give you these strategies to win. So first off, you have to understand that with every excuse and limiting belief, you're giving yourself a prison cell. It's like you say, life is too chaotic, therefore I can't go to the gym. You just added a prison bar. You just added a cage to your prison cell. Then you say, finances are too tight, so I can't invest in myself in this thing that would change me. You just added another bar to your prison cell. Then you say, my wife is mad at me, so therefore I can't blank. whatever the thing is. You just added another prison cell. You said, my kids are young, so I can't blank. All of these are you limiting yourself. It's like your own internal governor. You're telling yourself, Chris, you can't achieve in life because of insert the excuse you've been giving yourself. But I can tell you this, and it will not matter if you ignore it or you don't look in and identify these things. Because if you've been giving yourself the same easy way out for 20 years, it's not going to seem abnormal to you. So what you have to do is look internally and say, what is the thing that I constantly tell myself I don't have to? I don't have to. Today's Halloween. I'm recording this on Halloween. We, in our group, I gave them a surprise challenge today. I said, anyone that wants to join me, they can. It's Halloween. Anybody that wants to join this challenge, comment, you're in the group, but we're going to have 0 pieces of candy for the entire day. And that's tough because at the end of the day, after trick-or-treating, you got the whole separate your candy thing on the floor and your kids are giving you your favorite candy bars. Lauren always gives me a pile of Kit Kats. And I already told them, none for me for the entire day. So is there anyone that wants to join me? So we've got tons. This might be our highest participation challenge we've ever done. All these guys, I'm in. And not one of us is going to have a single piece of candy for all of Halloween. But many of us say, because it's Halloween, I must have candy. Or it makes sense. That's an example of a very simple lie or an excuse that is a that is a bar to our prison cell. It is because it's a holiday, I get to. Instead of saying, because I want to transform myself, I get to deprive myself and I get to be less weight tomorrow and I get to look better tomorrow and I get to feel better and inspire my family more. Instead of saying, I get to eat sugar because it makes me feel good. Difference. There's this selfish versus selfless attitude you can take as a father. Every single I get to, every single I can't is a bar to your prison cell. And you are locking yourself inside. It's like you've got this superhero inside that you could be only when you stop making excuses for you to become your best self. Only when you stop saying, I'll wait till Monday. Boom, bar added to your cage. Finances are too tight. Boom, bar added to your cage. I'm not sure, the timing isn't right. Boom, bar added to your cage. I'm kind of scared. What if it doesn't work out? Bar added to your cage. And some of us have 100 of these things, and we're squeezing ourselves. We are suffocating ourselves in this tight cage of excuses and self-limiting beliefs. What this episode is about is dismantling those. You don't need them. Stop being so afraid to live life without your excuses. Stop being afraid to be out there naked and alone. Because all of these excuses and limiting beliefs are just suffocating you. No, you can survive. Trust yourself enough to survive alone out there in the wilderness, in the world. You can have that conversation with your wife, with your boss. You can quit your 9-to-5 and start a business. You can go into the gym for the very first time after a decade and figure it out. You can figure it out. You can walk into the fog and keep on taking step after step and see the other side. Only if you take the leap. Only if you take that first step. So make this subtle mindset shift, this perspective shift. Go from saying I can't to saying how can I? Here's a very simple example that I'm training my children to have this mindset because when I grew up, I did not have this mindset in terms of finances. The mindset for me growing up was you have this amount of money, that's it. You go to college, you get a 9-to-5 job, you're happy with that. But that's not what my children are going to be. They got to watch me quit my job, become financially free, start businesses, and that's what they want to do. That's what Nathan wants to do. Lauren wants to be a music teacher like her mom. Nathan wanted a PS5, and he was like $150 short. I'm not going to buy him one. I don't want to get into the habit of buying my kids things when they want it. That's not how I grew up. I don't think it's good for them. Whenever they leave my house, it's not going to be good for them either. They have to learn how to budget their money, and also they have to learn the value of money and earning it. So What I will let them do is earn the money. So I'll have chores for them to do. So I'll say, okay, yeah, you can go weed this hillside for $10, or you can carry this pile of rocks up the hill that I need moved. I don't feel like doing that for $5, or to clean the shed. Something that's outside of their regular chores, I'll let them earn money. But also, Nathan has recently started a lawn care business. He's got 4 or 5 clients around our street. And there's no chore I would ever give my kids for $150. That's just me giving them the money. So I said, Nathan, sorry, man, you're going to have to go earn it. So what did he do? He grabbed his lawnmower. He walked up and down the street, found some new clients. He made $150 in 3 hours by pulling weeds, cutting lawns. He did stuff he never did before. So the mindset there isn't I can't afford it. The mindset is how can I afford it? That's something I learned a decade ago reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A great book, great early finance book. And then from there, getting connected with other people, coaches, programs, other books to expand my mind from the poor mindset to the abundant mindset. It's not even rich mindset, because there's a difference. There's people who are born into riches who don't have this mindset of abundance. No, it's not I can't afford it. It's how can I afford it? What can I do to create wealth? What can I do to create value so that I can make more money? And he's already talking about, it's like, okay, he's 11 right now. He's already talking about when he's 16, what other businesses he wants to do. He wants to start a pizza truck. He wants to, he's talking about pressure washing, because that's even a more valuable skill and more valuable task that people need. It's going to turn to winter here soon in Pittsburgh. So he's like, Dad, what can I do? Do you think I could shovel snow? I said, yeah, you could absolutely shovel snow. And that's more than once a week. People might need that every day for a week if it's going to be bad out. So not, I can't afford it. How can I afford it? And you can transfer that to any of these areas where you're stuck. Not, I can't get there. How can I get there? For example, you might come into Men of Fire and be like, Chris, I can't wake up early because I don't want to wake up my wife. How many times have I heard that? But then, luckily, we've had hundreds of guys come through the program. He's like, yep, I've been through that. And you can, as long as you don't add that bar to your cage of I can't. You no longer say I can't. Now you say, how can I? And we'll have 10 suggestions for you from guys who've already been through that. Different apps, different watches, places to put your phone. All these techniques for every single one of these problems that you've convinced yourself is a reason for you to stay stuck. You've created a prison cell for yourself, but many of us are comfortable sitting in that prison cell because it's comfortable and it requires nothing of us. It is safe. It's not scary. But what's more scary than being inside a prison cell for a lot of us is being outside for the first time. It's like somebody that's been in prison for 40 years and they're now an elderly man. Some of them commit a crime so they can go back into prison because it's safe. In the real world, even though it's 1,000 times better, is scary and unknown. So they will choose the safe misery of prison to the unknown, scary freedom that's out there in the world. Many guys do that with their own excuses. All of these excuses we're talking about. There's parts of your environment you can change, and there's parts of your environment you can't change. You can't change your wife. You can't change your kids. You can't change that they're going to be screaming at 2 a.m. You can't change that you'll be driving in a car and they might be screaming and fighting. You can't change the fact that you have to drive them to wrestling and soccer and all these other things. You can't change the fact that your wife likes to make unhealthy meals every night. Maybe. Or maybe you're one of the lucky ones and she's on board and she's making healthy meals. But the fact is you can't change that with a snap of a finger. You can become a person who they want to follow. You can master your communication skills and have conversations about these different things. But for the most part, you cannot change the chaos of fatherhood. It's just part of being a father. It's going to be chaotic. But that's okay, right? Because you love your kids, you love your wife, you're a leader. Leaders can deal with chaos. Leaders don't make chaos a reason for them not to be a leader. So you can deal with it. You're a man, you're a leader. That's what you're here to do, to become unbreakable. So you can't change a lot of these external factors. You can change yourself, though. You can become a guy who thrives in the chaos instead of a guy who uses the chaos as an excuse to quit. You can't change a 1-year-old that wakes up in the middle of the night. You can't change the fact that your wife has been sick for 2 weeks. You can't change the fact that right now your car broke down. What you can do is give these people grace, take the hits when you have to, and change yourself. A victim blames the storm. A leader masters the ship so he can guide the ship to safety. The victim mentality is, oh, it's raining, it's windy out, the skies are dark, we have to quit. The leader figures out how to navigate in the storm, and he makes everybody feel safe. You want to make your family feel safe. Accepting the chaos and deciding to build systems and defeat it is the definition of leadership. The definition of somebody who's abdicating their leadership is saying, because life is hard, I'm quitting. Or because life is hard, I need to accept a lesser version of myself, and my family needs to accept a lesser version of myself. Because life is crazy, because I'm a father, because finances are tight, because timing isn't great right now, because work is crazy, because I'm stressed out, because I'm depressed, because I'm miserable, because I have low energy, because I'm tired. Because of these things, I can't deliver on the promise that I made my family and the promise that I made myself. That's what somebody who abdicates their leadership does. The leader says, I'm going to become a guy who thrives in this. I'm going to be the master of my ship. I'm not going to blame the storm. This is going to be the most important mindset shift of this whole episode. And that is going from because I'm a father I can't to because I'm a father I must. We've been saying because I'm a father I can't, because I'm a father I have a dad bod, because I'm a father I can't chase my dreams. No, instead we're going to say because I'm a father I must rise. Because I'm a father I must be in shape so I can be present, not snap. I can give energy to my family, and I can inspire them and show them a model for health and strength. Because I'm a father, I must build my business so I can go after my dreams, so my children can see what a man can do, and I can provide for my family. Because I'm a father, I must become all I can be so I can give my family everything that they deserve. My children watched me quit my job and start a business. They watched me go from fat to ripped. All during the chaos of fatherhood, all during when they were toddlers, whenever life was the craziest. I had the least amount of energy because I was so out of shape. We were staying up late. I was drinking more then, not a ton, but I was still drinking some. We had bad habits. I had lots of financial stress. We were returning groceries at Aldi. And all during this chaotic time, I could have used every one of those excuses and said, finances are so tight, I can't invest in myself. I couldn't hire a coach. I couldn't join a business mastermind like I did. I could have said that. Because I'm a father, finances are tight, therefore I can't. I could have easily have said that, but I didn't. I said, because I want my family to live a better life, I must take a risk and invest in myself. That's the difference. I went from I can't to I must. Giving my family a better life was more important than me being scared of spending money. And because of that, put $4,000 on a credit card, hired a business coach, and I changed my life. And it all started from there. I needed sleep. I needed more than 5-6 hours of sleep. But I realized my body was decaying. I realized I was getting hurt more. Didn't like the way I look. My confidence was going. I was in my head and frustrated because of what I allowed myself to do. And my family was getting the bad end of the stick. They were getting a more miserable me, a more in my head me because of what I allowed myself to come to. I also said, I don't want to pass this on to my children. I want my children to see me as an inspiration. I want to teach them healthy habits, not unhealthy habits. So I didn't say, because I'm a father and because life is chaotic and finances are bad and because I have no energy, I can't go to the gym. Because I need a lot of sleep, I can't go to the gym. I said, because I'm a father and I want to give my family a better life, I must get up at 3:45 and go to the gym and suffer. It's worth the lack of sleep. It's worth me pushing myself. Because I'm a father to these kids, I have to. Because I want to give my wife a better life, I have to. I must. Not because life is chaotic, because finances are tight, because of insert your excuse, I can't. So no, because of all that chaos, I have to. They are the reason I have to improve my situation. Too many of us are using the chaos of fatherhood as the reason why we have to live a miserable life and why our family has to live a miserable life. Because we're living a miserable life and because life is chaotic, that's why we have to change it. That's why you have to do something about it. So let's do something about it. And it's simple. If you're searching for a complex, profound, 100-step plan, that's part of the perfectionist attitude that's keeping you stuck and self-sabotaging yourself. It's not. The reason you're stuck isn't because you don't have access to this secret plan. It's because you can't get yourself to do basic things that you know you have to do. It's like, oh, well, this guy has this. No, you just can't get yourself to wake up. That's all it is. So I'm going to give you the simple blueprint, but you have to do it. Don't say, well, this doesn't sound complicated enough, so I'm going to go search for the complicated thing when you can't even do step one. You can't even get out of bed on time, and you're looking for a 100-step program. No, how about we just worry about step one? So very simple blueprint for you. Go to bed earlier, okay? Very first domino, it's simple, but it's not easy because your wife wants to watch Netflix, because you want to watch Netflix, you want to scroll your phone, you haven't implemented a disciplined system of nighttime routine with your kids, so they cause you to stay up late. This whole nighttime routine system, you need to become the master of it. You need to master this part of your ship. Go to bed earlier. This requires leadership. This requires communication with your wife, but you need to create a new standard now. We're in bed by 9:30, okay? And with your kids, you can absolutely do that. Your wife wants to stay up and read books, watch Netflix, okay, but you need to get in bed earlier so you can get up earlier. Why do you get up earlier? Not because it's tough, not because some influencer does it, so you can work out before your family wakes up. So you can steal your own excuse of, I can't do this because I can't leave my wife with the kids. You no longer have that excuse. You just have to get up earlier. One of my best friends, as I told you in the past couple episodes, he recently, this past week, started working out with me at 5 a.m. He's been there 5 days in a row after a decade of not going to the gym. He occasionally worked out at his home garage, but he's like, yeah, I got to step it up. So he's with me now 5 days in a row. And he's like, I could do this every single day. He said, flat out, he said what I'm telling you. He goes, yeah, well, now, the kids are asleep, so I don't have to worry about that. He's like, I could be here an hour and a half every single day if I need to, and then just go home and I can wake up my kids. That's why you go to bed earlier. Go to bed earlier so you can wake up earlier, so you can work out, and you can start your day feeling amazing like you have that first win. Okay, so go to bed by 9:30, get up at 4:30. That's 7 hours right there. That's fantastic. For me, 6.5, 7 hours, I feel amazing. If I get more than 7.5 hours, I feel tired the entire day. So whatever your sleep requirement is, okay, just get it. 6 to 8 hours, whatever you need, but go to bed earlier. You need this time to yourself so you can build yourself. You need to become a person who can pour energy into his family. So to do that, you must become that person by building yourself in the morning. You build yourself so you can show up as your best self to your family. When you don't take care of yourself, your family gets the worst version of you. Give them the best version of you by you taking care of yourself and building yourself first thing in the morning. And then you're going to win the day. And I'll give you a system that we use in Men of Fire, a real simple one. And that is tracking what we do throughout the day. This is something you can do for 1 or 2 weeks. And from that, then you can start to time block and actually schedule your day. And you might be thinking, yeah, you've said that before. That's so simple. Yeah, but you're still not doing it. Yeah, eating an apple instead of a Snickers bar is easy, but you're still not doing it. So the complexity of the thing doesn't give it its value. The simplest and most effective things are the most valuable. The more complex a solution is, usually the more ineffective it is. Scheduling your day out in advance is extremely effective. Your days, weeks, months, year, extremely effective. Jim Rohn goes into this in detail. One of his techniques is just tracking what you do before you start to time block your day. Believe me, it's extremely helpful. I'll have a guy in Men of Fire who time blocks his day for a month. He's making super progress, and he doesn't do it for 2 weeks. He's like, Chris, I just stopped, and everything went to shit. Like all my needle-moving tasks, as soon as I started to back up, I was like, why did I ever stop this? I'll tell you, personal experience, it's exactly the same thing. So track what you do. Every 30 minutes, just a little note. Takes you 1 second. Did this, did this, did this. You're not going to do it for the rest of your life, obviously. Do it for 7 days. Do it for 2 weeks if you need to. Okay? At the end of the day, just do a quick little rundown if you want to do it like that. But you want to understand how you're spending your time. Am I spending an hour scrolling my phone and watching YouTube in the middle of the day? Am I talking to these guys over some beers for an hour and a half when I could be doing this? and you're going to audit your week, and you're going to decide where you're wasting your time, where you're being really efficient, and then you can optimize. Then you can do the next step, which is time block your day and say, all right, this is what I'm going to do each of these tasks. I'm going to wake up at this time, morning routine, serve my family, go to work. During work, this is what I'm going to do. Come home, this is what I'm going to do. And you can say, my 12-month goal is this. To do that, I must have these daily tasks that will lead me there. And then step 4 is just get back to the gym. Do a workout in your garage, do a workout at the gym. It doesn't matter. Just do a workout. Start doing it every single day. And your body is the one thing that fuels every single other part of it. You cannot say to yourself, I'm only going to focus on my business for the rest of my life so I can have a great business. Okay, what happens 5 years from now whenever you develop a disease because you haven't taken care of your body today? You could say, I want the best marriage, so I'm only going to focus on my wife, and because of that, I don't have time to go to the gym. Okay, what happens 10 years from now whenever you've become so miserable and lack of energy, you have no testosterone, and you don't want to have sex anymore because you've allowed yourself to crumble into this slop? Okay, so go to the gym right now. The gym fuels everything. It's what gives you energy. It's what gives you presence. What gives you strength and confidence. It makes your testosterone higher. It gives you more ambition. So go back to the gym. And then, yeah, you are going to fail at this. You are going to make mistakes. But that's okay. No longer are we going to use the fear of failure as the reason why we're not going to try something and the reason why we're going to quit. You're going to do it anyway because your family's worth it. You are worth it. Becoming your potential is why you're going to do it. That is worth it alone. You need to give your daughter and son a better life. That's why you're going to do it. That's why your excuses aren't good enough. You need to give your wife a better life. That's why your excuses aren't good enough. That's why you're going to do it anyway. You're going to do it scared. You're going to do it tired. You're going to be a father while you're unmotivated. You're going to be a father while you're depressed, stressed, anxious, while finances are tight, while you're doubting yourself and thinking this might not work out. You're going to lead them anyway because you're a father and your family's worth it. So we're no longer going to let the perfectionism trap kill you. You're not going to let one mistake become an avalanche. You're going to do what we say in Men of Fire, pivot and rise. One mistake happened, we're going to pivot, we're going to adjust, and we're going to arise. And who knows, you might find opportunity throughout the day that wasn't there before. So don't let one domino affect the next one. Here's an example. You planned to go to the gym at 4 a.m. Kids started screaming for some reason. Old you would say, okay, I'm quitting, I can't go for the day. New you, no, you lead, you help the kids, you help your wife then, they go back to sleep, you adjust your schedule, you do a condensed workout, or you help your family, you get some other tasks done early in the day that you had to do later in the day, and then you go to the gym later in the day, or you do a bodyweight workout when you couldn't go to the gym. Or you eat less that day and you do more steps and you get more cardio in. You just adjust, you pivot, and you rise. You don't give yourself a bar to your cage with the form of an excuse. Make your new mantra, pivot and rise, pivot and rise. Okay, instead of giving myself an excuse, which is a stop sign, I'm just going to pivot and rise. Pivot and rise. That's your new standard. So acknowledge the failure, find the reframe, and then get back on the mission. Pivot and rising might put you at the 80% mark, but that is better than being a perfectionist who's at the 0% mark. Even if some days are 30%, that's better than 0%. The guy who's doing good every single day means 365 days a year he's doing good, which means he's taking steps 365 days of the year. The guy who waits for the world to give him a 100% scenario takes maybe 15 to 20 steps during the year, because only during 365 days you're going to get, 15 to 20 days where just everything works out. Your wife's happy, your kids are sleeping, finances are great, life is great. Might happen, probably not even that much, maybe like 2 to 5. So you need to take imperfect action every single day and ditch the perfectionist attitude. Fatherhood is chaotic, it's full of challenges, but so is every single thing in life that is worth it. Everything in life that has a massive upside is worth the challenges, and it comes with challenges. So we're going to ditch the lie of, I'm going to wait to become the man I want to be when I'm done being a father. We're now going to say, I must become the man I have to be because I'm a father. Your kids are watching and they're absorbing your standard. Are they going to see a father throughout their life who constantly uses them as an excuse to underachieve? Because I'm a father, I can't go to the gym. Because I'm a father, I can't invest in myself. I can't start that business. Or are they going to see a father who chooses them and tells them to their face, because I love you so much, Because you mean so much to me, I will sacrifice. I will invest in myself. I will take risks. I will suffer, get uncomfortable, and push myself to become all I can be because I'm your father and you deserve it.